The harem is one of the most famous places in Istanbul and one of the most skipped. It's already included in your Topkapı Palace ticket, so it costs you nothing extra, just time. But is it worth that time, or is it overhyped? Price, hours, what you will see, and my honest opinion as someone who lives here, let's get into it. The harem sits inside Topkapı Palace, and the name tells you everything. It comes from Arabic, and it originally means forbidden. If you didn't live here, you didn't come in. Simple as that. This was the Sultan's private world, where he lived with his sons, his concubines, and the most powerful woman in the empire, his mother, the Valide Sultan. And it was huge, around 300 rooms, covered floor to ceiling in tiles, connected by courtyards and fountain gardens. Honestly, it's a labyrinth. You could get lost in here. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know. Islam forbade enslaving Muslims, so most of the women brought into the harem were Christian or Jewish, usually sent here as gifts from nobles and rulers who wanted the Sultan's favor. Once they arrived, they converted to Islam and started their palace training. They learned to read and write, play an instrument, sing, dance, everything expected of a woman at a court. But out of those 300 rooms, only a handful are open to visitors today, and in this video I'm taking you through all of them, including the sections that just opened to the public for the very first time. So let's start with one of the most important points for this museum, which is the price for Topkapı Palace. So currently, as of July of 2026, the price per person for a combined ticket, which includes the Topkapı Palace, the Hagia Irene, and the harem, is 2,750 Turkish liras per person. This is for foreign tourists, and I will be leaving here on the screen the equivalent in euros. This museum is included in the Museum Pass Istanbul and Museum Pass Turkey. That means that if you decide to purchase any of these two passes, you don't have to purchase an extra ticket to visit this palace. Quick thing to note, you can't visit the harem on its own. Its entrance is inside the second courtyard of Topkapı Palace, so you need a palace ticket just to reach it. That means if you're planning to see both, do them on the same day, because if you save the harem for another trip, you'll have to buy the full combined ticket all over again. Now, how about where you can purchase the tickets for the Topkapı Palace? There are only two ways, and the first one will be directly from the ticket office only on the date on your visit. And actually you cannot buy them beforehand or some days before your visit. You cannot, for example, in this case for the official website, they don't offer that benefit. So basically you just have to buy them directly from the office ticket on the same day of your visit. Or the second option will be only through third-party websites online. But as I have been repeating over and over again in my previous videos about other museums like Hagia Sophia and Basilica Sistine, is that for these companies, you need to be very careful for a few reasons. The first one is that many of them might not even be legit, so you are at a risk of getting scammed. So of course we want to avoid them. And secondly, even if they are legit, let's suppose that everything is fine, but the tickets will be much more expensive than buying them directly from the ticket office. And of course it is because they need to have some profit. They also charge for commissions. So also think about that, because let's already remember that the tickets in general for the museums in Istanbul and in Turkey are already quite expensive. So if you purchase them through these third-party websites, you will be paying even more. So currently for Topkapı Palace, let's say it's like $60 to $70 probably. So you will be paying maybe around $80, $85. So I mean, that's quite a lot for a museum. That is why, as a local that has been living here in Istanbul for the past 10 years, my only recommendation, if you want to save some money and if you want to be on the safe side, always purchase the tickets directly from the ticket office, from the ticket booths, on the same day of your visit. That's the best option. You can visit this museum from 9 in the morning till 5 p.m. and it is closed on Tuesdays. And what will be the best moment to visit the Topkapı Palace? Well, I will tell you as a local that if you visit during the high season or the peak season here in the city for tourism, which goes basically from mid-May till maybe the beginning of October and of September usually. So during that time, obviously, as most of the main monuments here in Sultan Ahmed, including the Topkapı Palace, are some of the most visited places of the city. So of course, during this time of the year, the museum will be much more crowded, there will be more group tours, and also there will be many more lines to enter the palace. That is why if you want to visit it, you can do it as soon as it opens, as early as possible. So if it opens at 9, you can start the visit around 10 in the morning, so you can also enjoy it thoroughly, and you don't have to be among all the tours, and because sometimes it can get really crowded. And also keep in mind that if there are some cruise ships docking in Istanbul by that time, that sometimes we can even have 3 huge cruise ships at the same time docking in Istanbul, that can make even the Sultanahmet area and every monument here in this area also much more crowded, and you can be waiting in line much longer. So that is why you can do it as early as possible, or another option will be doing it maybe 2-3 hours before it closes. So if it closes around 5 p.m., you can start your visit maybe around 3 o'clock. By that time, most of the groups of the tours will be gone already, because usually they start early in the morning, and they start the visit to these palaces as early as possible as well. So you can have those 2 options. And if you visit Istanbul during the low season, which is the best one in my opinion, which usually goes, let's say, from mid-October till maybe end of March, that will be usually like the low season here in the city. That will be the best season to visit, and my recommended one. Even when my family comes to Istanbul to visit me, usually they choose those dates, those months, especially January, February, because yes, it's true that it can be cold and some days quite cold, but to be honest, we can enjoy the places and the monuments much better. So if you're coming during that time, you don't have to worry that much, because there will be very little lines, or maybe not even lines. So you will be lucky in that way, and you can visit any time of the day. Can you skip the line to visit Topkapı Palace, as for example with Hagia Sophia? Unfortunately, they don't have the benefit in this museum to skip the line. However, if you are on a tour, including a private tour, there is the benefit that already the tour agencies, they can indeed get these tickets in advance. So for example, by the time when you visit the Topkapı Palace, you don't have to line up to purchase the tickets. So if you are on a tour, you can actually enter the palace directly without waiting in line. The only line that you might be waiting, especially if you visit during the high season, will be for the checkpoint to enter the Topkapı Palace. But no one can skip that line, because it's a checkpoint. You need to leave your things so they can check them from the machine, from the X-ray machine. So that is why you cannot skip that one. But when it comes to skipping the line for the ticket office, you can do that. And if you would like to learn more about this amazing museum and many other incredible spots in Istanbul and Turkey, you can check our private tours and itineraries at remindertour.com. We specialize in private tours, and over the last 3 years we have hosted thousands of amazing guests from all over the world, people who got to experience this city and the country like a true local. We offer circuits that cover everything from the most iconic highlights to the hidden gems you won't find in any guidebook. Whether you want to explore the city's must-sees or discover the spots the locals actually love, we have something for you. We also offer food tours where you'll get to taste the absolute best flavors Istanbul has to offer. And if you are interested, you can even do that tour with me. To get in touch, just send us an email or a WhatsApp message. You'll find all the details in the description box and pinned comment, and our team will get back to you right away with all the information and a quote. And lastly, and before we enter into the palace and I start showing you everything inside, how long do you need to consider to visit this palace? Well, this palace is massive. In fact, even one full day is not even enough to visit this palace thoroughly. But you need to consider at least 2 to 3 hours, and that is if you also want to visit the harem, because the harem, that's another extra section from the palace. It is inside the palace, but that also takes around 1 hour. So the palace itself, if you want to see only the highlights, it might take 2 hours plus 1 more for the harem. So I will suggest to consider at least 2 to 3 hours of your day to visit this palace, and that is only for the highlights. A free audio guide is available in 15 languages. You can grab it from this kiosk or just scan the QR code. You'll also find toilets in several of the courtyards, plus cafes and small snack kiosks scattered around. Trust me, you'll want them. This place is enormous, and at some point you are going to need a coffee and a place to sit down.
Hello everyone, my name is Zeynep and I'm a professional tour guide. Then we will give you some information about Harem section of Topkapı Palace with Barry. So right now we are in the domed area of the Harem section. You will start to see some nice places which was exactly opened very lately and freshly. The restoration was finished in some areas very soonly. We will visit that kind of rooms. We are at the dome room. The first concubines, when they reach the palaces, they first come this room and they have some information about the palace, and their information was written something about it and they put in that rooms. Here that you can see a spatial road. The spatial road that you can see, this is the road where the Sultan can have journey with his horses. Because the marble can be slippery, but that spatial road can be much way better with the horse. That's why they built a special road for the Sultan's journey. The only person who can have a journey by his horses here is the Sultan. Why? Because he is the most powerful person around here. That's why that only he can have a journey by his horses around here. And this is a special road that you can see about it, and it is inside all of the harem section. So this place that we're in right now, it is called Masjid of the Black Eunuchs. So Black Eunuchs was the guys who was working in the harem section of the palace that was helping to the queen mother, wife of the sultans, concubines, and everyone. Masjid means as a small mosque, or you can just think like a chain. So we are at the masjid, or a smaller mosque of the Black Eunuchs, where they do their pray, or where they just socialize in the palace section.
This is one of the first rooms you reach once you enter the women's section of the harem. This was their bath, and inside you can still see some of the objects that were part of the ritual.
We are at the kitchen section of the Topkapı Palace, Concubines dormitory. There is only one kitchen at the Topkapı Palace, and exactly all the foods was cooked over there, and with the porters it was carried to somewhere else. But anytime if they need any snacks or something like that, or if they feel super hungry, there was also super small or like smaller parts of the kitchens. This was their storage. So this is, which is something interesting, they were using it to do some butter with the shaking the milk, then after that it was getting like the butter. This was their storages. They were storing maybe olive oil, maybe honey, maybe other things, and as you can see the examples here.
When they ate, the women of the harem gathered around low round tables like this, set on the floor, with everyone seated on cushions around it. The harem ran on a strict hierarchy, and your place in it decided your work. The youngest and least experienced women were given the hardest jobs, and laundry was near the bottom of the ladder. This is how it was done.
This is a socializing area of the concubines. At the upper galleries, there are their bedrooms, but in this room where they socialize, till the 19th century, mostly till the 19th century in Ottoman Empire period, there is no table or the chairs. People, when they would like to eat or when they would like to sit, they sit in divan, which is sofa, and where they would like to have their lunch or dinner, they directly sit to a surface that you can see here, and you can see their instrumentals where they play music or where they get some, make fun or something like that. So this is their socializing area. 7 years education when they arrive to the palace. But the education is not only learning about reading, not only learning about writing or something like that. They also have idea about play instruments, how to weave, how to do embroideries or other things. So this is one of the examples of the room where you were chosen as a wife of a sultan or an important, let's say, and you have a private room like that. We are at the rooms of the Queen Mother. So the Queen Mother or Sultan's mother are the most powerful lady at the harem section of the palace. Why we call like that? Because Sultan can have several wives or Sultan can have some concubines, but Sultan can only have one mother. Because of that reason, the most powerful person in the harem section is the Sultan's mother, that we call her as a Queen Mother, and this is her apartment. What I mean is an apartment, this is her socializing area. There are rooms where she has bedrooms, and upper gallery she also has some balcony which she sees the view of the Bosphorus. So we are at the Queen's Mother Turkish bath right now. But first, before we start about here, I will give you some information about the Turkish bath. At the Ottoman Empire period, for the ladies, the most socializing area is the Turkish bath, and of course the gossiping area. So at the Ottoman Empire period, ladies are not allowed to go everywhere, anytime, whenever they want. So that's why when they would like to meet their friends, when they would like to meet their neighbors, they especially meet at the Turkish bath. And then everybody comes over there with some information, and of course they do some gossip at the Turkish bath while they are having their Turkish coffee, while they are having their tea. What they do gossip.
This is the Sultan's bath, and the details here are on another level entirely.
We are at the Imperial Hall section of the Harem right now. So this place is a socializing area of the royal family members and the concubines. So if they would like to have a lunch, if they would like to have dinner together, this is where they do it. Or if they would like to do any meeting, or Sultan or Queen Mother would like to give any celebration or any celebration, it exactly happens in that room. So that's why we call it here as an Imperial Hall. There are lots of details in that room, that every area or every corner that you will have a look at it, you will see many details.
The private chamber of Sultan Murad III is the finest room in the harem, and it was built in the 1570s by the finest architect the empire ever produced, Mimar Sinan. Here we can admire the beautiful blue and coral red Iznik tiles that run from the floor to ceiling. Then there's the fruit room. This one belonged to Sultan Ahmed III, and it's a completely different mood. No tiles, just painted panels of flowers and bowls of fruit covering every surface. You can feel the change in taste the moment you walk in.
The building that you can see behind of me, which has one of the nicest examples of the Turkish and the Ottoman ties, it was the prison of the crown princes. When their father, when their brother, or when their cousin becomes a sultan, they were waiting for their time, and they were waiting here in a room which is called as a prison of the crown princes. The rooms that you can see behind of me, they are called the rooms of favorite ladies. When the concubines are chosen as a wife of sultan or can become a wife of sultan, they were exactly staying in that private rooms, which is not a dormitory. They had their private rooms here, which has one of the nicest view of the palace with the Bosphorus and the Golden Horn view.
On your way out of the harem, don't rush past this. There's a new exhibition of Ottoman tiles spanning several different periods. It's worth slowing down for. You have just walked through rooms where the tiles are part of the walls. Here you can finally see them up close, and you start noticing how much the style shifted from the century to the next. If you have already got the palace on your itinerary, I highly recommend adding the harem too. It gives you a much better idea of how the sultans and the Ottoman dynasty in general actually lived. It's one of the most interesting sections of the palace. The decoration is exquisite and it's well worth the extra hour. But now, let me know in comments below. What do you think? Is it really worth visiting the harem in 2026? And if you haven't watched the video about the Topkapı Palace where we show you the new areas that recently opened to public and the highlights, then I'll be leaving the link in the description box and pinned comment. So now you know exactly what to expect from the harem. If this video helped you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I live in Istanbul and this is exactly what I do here on this channel. And if this is your first time visiting the city, I already made a super useful video breaking down how to spend 3 full amazing days in Istanbul. The link is right up here. See you in the next video. Bye bye!